Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to use your 5x7 hoop to create the background quilting on Kimberbell Cuties Volume 2. Now you may have watched my first tutorial titled How to Do Background Quilting Triangle Blocks in Kimberbell Cuties Volume 2. In that tutorial, I showed you how to do this all-in-one hooping when you have an 8x12 or a 9x14 hoop. These background quilting files for triangles are optional and are available as a separate download at kimberbell.com. You'll find it as a bundle titled Cuties Volume 2 Quilting Bundle, January through June. The background quilting designs are specially digitized to eliminate batting in the seams. While you're able to do this in one hooping with an 8x12 or a 9x14 hoop, we still make it possible to do it with a 5x7 hoop thanks to our method of digitizing an easy rehooping technique. While that may sound a little intimidating, no worries. I'll walk you through it in no time. For either option, make sure you download the accompanying PDF that came with your background quilting files. This will give you additional tips for making this really easy and a whole lot of fun. First, start by cutting your 13 by 13 inch piece of background fabric. You'll find that information, of course, in the book itself, but it's also found on page 4 of the Quilting Bundle download. You'll also need a 12 by 12 inch piece of Kimberbell project batting, our fusible backing, paper tape, and our light mesh cutaway stabilizer. Since you are using the 5x7 hoop, you'll also want a few thumbtacks to help you with those multiple hoopings. Let's turn to page 7 where it describes in more detail the 5x7 triple hooping option. Again, if you have a larger 8x12 or 9x14 hoop, please see my previous tutorial mentioned earlier. Option 2 allows you to quilt the triangles in a smaller hoop. It requires the fabric to be hooped probably 3 to 4 times. You'll start this with the center of the triangle and then quilt each side. If the applique design is horizontal, for example, the Valentine hearts or the butterfly from Volume 2, then you're going to want to pre-quilt the entire triangle before embroidering the design. You'll find additional details on page 12 of your download. Now, if the applique design is vertical, such as the snowman, the leprechaun gnome, the bunny, or the ice cream, it can be added in the same hoop as the 5x7 Part 1 quilting, simply because both the vertical design and that center portion of the quilting, well, it's all going to fit in that same 5x7 hoop. Some of the applique blocks will have what we call special trimming instructions and may need the applique design shifted before embroidering. If this is the case, look for this logo found in the book. So let's go ahead and continue with this snowman corner block design. As you'll see on page 7, we are using the 3-part files titled KDQ 150-5x7-Triangles Part 1, 2, and 3 for the snowman background quilting. We are also using a 5x7 file called Up to Snow Good, which is the snowman itself. Now, since part 1 of the background quilting is the center file, you could combine your snowman on top of that file right now. You could do this on your machine or in embroidery software. Alternatively, you could add it after part 1 has already been quilted. When you do add the snowman on top, be sure to align the trimming guidelines of the snowman block embroidery file with the tack down lines of the quilting file. After quilting, do not stitch the placement template and background tack down basting stitch. As you'll see, you'll go right to the applique. Now, let's go ahead and move to page 8. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and fuse Kimberbell's fusible backing to the wrong side of the background fabric. Next, subcut the background fabric into 2 triangles on the diagonal. Only 1 triangle will be needed per corner. Now, cut your project batting just the same. Hoop the light mesh cutaway stabilizer in your 5x7 hoop and load the Part 1 file into the machine. Following on page 8, let's look at instruction step number 5. Stitch the batting placement line directly on the stabilizer. Fold the project batting in half widthwise to create fold A and side A. The top is now side B. Fold the project batting lengthwise 1 inch from side B to create fold B. Place the batting in the hoop with fold A aligned with the center tick marks and fold B aligned with the horizontal line. Unfold and tape in place. Stitch the background tack down line and remove the tape. Trim the batting close to the stitch line. Do not cut the batting to the left or the right of the stitch line. Stitch the background fabric placement line. Fold the background fabric in half widthwise, right sides together to create fold A and side A. The top is now side B. Fold the background fabric lengthwise 1 inch from side B to create fold B. Place the background fabric in the hoop with fold A aligned with a center tick mark and fold B aligned with a horizontal line. Unfold and tape in place. Stitch the background fabric basting stitch. Note that this is not a cut line. Stitch the background quilting. Stitch the right registration marks. Stitch the left registration marks. For vertical designs, see Cuties Volume 2 to finish the applique before removing from the hoop. Remove the hoop from the machine and cut away the excess stabilizer from the back of the project. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm actually going to skip what the applique design is for the center part, which would be the snowman design, and skip ahead to go to the background quilting for parts 2 and 3 hoopings. Part 2, quilting the left side of the triangle. Hoop your light mesh cutaway stabilizer only in the 5x7 hoop. Load the Part 2 file into the machine. Stitch the registration marks directly on top of the stabilizer. Remove the hoop from the machine, turn the hoop to the back, place thumbnails exactly in the corner of each registration mark, and then tape the thumbtacks in place. Turn the hoop to the front. Place the hoop on a hard surface with the thumbnails poking up. Place the project right side up, aligning the 2 left registration mark corners with the thumbtack tips. Push the project over the thumbtacks. Carefully smooth out all layers flat. Carefully fold the background fabric to the right and tape in place. Carefully tape the batting in place and then stitch the batting tack down line and remove the tape. Trim the batting close to the stitch line. Remove the tape and unfold the background fabric. Carefully smooth it in place and then tape. Stitch the background fabric basting stitch and remove the tape. Remember, this is not a cut line. Stitch the background quilting. Remove the hoop from the machine and then cut away the excess stabilizer from the back of the project. Part 3, quilting the right side of the triangle. Hoop the light mesh cutaway stabilizer only in the 5x7 hoop. Load the Part 3 file into the machine. Stitch the registration marks directly on the stabilizer. Remove the hoop from the machine, turn the hoop to the back, place thumbtacks exactly in the corner of each registration mark, and tape in place. Turn the hoop to the front. Place the hoop on a hard surface with the thumbtacks poking up. Place the project right side up, aligning the 2 right registration marks with the thumbtack tips. Push the project over the thumbtacks and carefully smooth out all the layers flat. Carefully fold background fabric to the left and tape in place. Carefully tape the batting in place. Remove the thumbtacks. Stitch the batting tack down line and then remove the tape. Trim the batting close to the stitch line. Remove the tape and unfold the background fabric. Carefully smooth in place and tape in place. Stitch the background fabric basting stitch and then remove your tape, remembering that this is not a cut line. Stitch the background quilting. Remove the hoop from the machine, cut away the extra stabilizer from the back of the project, and remove all the registration marks using a seam ripper. Now remember, if you are wanting to stitch a horizontal design such as the candied hearts or the butterfly, you actually will quilt all 3 of these hoopings at one time first, and then follow the instructions for adding your horizontal applique found on page 12. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Find Kimberbell Cuties at your favorite quilt shop and Kimberbell's background quilting files at kimberbell.com.